Right then, Manchester United, Newcastle, League Cup. United have to bounce back and actually couldn't really be. I mean, there could be worse opposition, but like not much worse. Newcastle's a real test for us, and they're struggling at the moment, it must be said, but United have a real strong record lately, obviously, winning it last season, reaching the fourth round in our last 5 attempts. We've not been eliminated at this stage since we lost on penalties to Middlesbrough back in 2015. But our recent run of form has spread some pessimism, I would think it'd be safe to say. And I'm seeing all sorts of media, even good media like The Athletic, starting to question. And it does honestly feel like the writing is on the wall. Like we're almost walking down the path of sacking Ten Hag, and I find that astonishing to believe. Now the noises coming out of the club aren't that, but the noises are increasing. TalkSport have done 13 consecutive videos on Manchester United. I have no words for that. A thrashing could be on the cards from Newcastle. Newcastle have only lost once in their last 10 games. They've got some injuries of their own. And I do wonder what sort of mood Eddie Howe will be in for this. Does he care about it? Does he see the benefit maybe of going out? Do we see the benefit maybe of going out in this? Seeing as though we got fuck all credit for winning it last year, should we just fuck it off and concentrate on the big ones? We are having one of our worst starts in recent history. And this really isn't the team when you're a little bit somber on your heels, feeling sorry for yourself. You're gonna have to be on it against Newcastle, and I'm not sure. Well, I am sure they just haven't given us the confidence that they will be on it. Eddie Howe's approach at Newcastle revolves around having a very fast-paced, transitional, focused style of play. He has a real strong emphasis on being defensively solid in the middle of the pitch, and he goes with a 4-3-3 formation that looks to try and compress the lines and exploit sudden breaks in transitions. The aim is to catch opponents off guard and capitalise on their vulnerability. When you have a team that isn't working hard off the ball, like United, and structurally is just wide open the way we were against Manchester City, that is a massive problem for United. I'm going to move quickly into the Newcastle starting 11. And again, this is a complete guess because it's a League Cup, and with the injuries and stuff that they've got going on, this could be miles off. They might choose to rotate. But I'm going to go with Pope, Trippier, Shah, Lascelles, Byrne, Longstaff, Guimaraes, Joe Linton, Almiron, Wilson, and Gordon. Now that 11 is a bang mid-table Premier League 11. And the reason that United fans should be worried is Eddie Howe is getting a tune out of what is quite clearly, being real, Trippier and Guimaraes and the weird form that Joe Linton was in last season. That's just a shit Premier League 11. But they're a threat to us because we're not at anything. Like, United should be able to put out 2 11s that are better than that without even thinking about it. But it's not the case, is it? Star man for them, Anthony Gordon. He's been brilliant for them all season. His output has increased. He's been a big danger. He is lethal in transition, and he's got a lot of off-the-ball running. He is good 1v1, and he's a pretty decent striker of the ball. He's epitomised what makes Newcastle good, and that is energy, endeavour, speed, and aggression. Fuck me. How depressing is it reading that out? Because energy, aggression, speed, and endeavour are the words missing from Manchester United, aren't they? My United 11 is as follows. I'm going with Onana. I'm going to keep Onana in because I think there's an opportunity for him to continue building confidence. I don't think he needs resting. I think he needs to continue playing. I'm going to mix things up a little bit in defence, and I'm going to go with Dalot. I'm going to go with Varane. I'm going to go with Evans, and I'm going to go with Reguilon. Now, I think there's a reason he doesn't play Varane and Maguire. I don't know what that reason is, but I think he, in his head, can only play one of them. I'm going to go with trying to pass out from the back, and Evans is good at that. I'll go with Varane, and I'll go with Evans, and I'm going to bring Reguilon in to give us a little bit more potency at the back. Now, that back four, especially with what I'm going to put in front of it, does have the ability to play out, and I'm hoping that this can kickstart United being better at playing out. In front of him, I'm going Amrabat and Casemiro. They both have a combative side to them, and they both have a quality side to them, and they're both capable, comfortable ball carriers. And that means that entire back six is comfortable playing football. Okay? That's what we're trying to do here. My forward three behind a striker, I'm going with Anthony. I did write Palestri, but then I went, he's playing Anthony, right? Now, what you will get with Anthony is industry. Okay, the end product isn't quite there, but he will work hard. And Garnacho on the other side, similar. I think he's got a bit more X factor about him. He's probably a little bit more of a goal threat, but you do get industry out of him. And I've gone with Mount in the 10. Bruno and Rashford, rested or dropped. I'll let you decide. Neither of them are starting for me this week. I think it's becoming a point. And they were both rested. And I think it was rested in the last round. So I don't think it's a massive issue if they're rested in this round. So Anthony, Mount and Garnacho, it's fresh. And it's people with a point to prove, I would hope. And then Højlund, he keeps his place because Anthony Martial's not on it, right? And I think the more you play Højlund, the more he'll be getting used to it. And I think he will come good. Now, all I've picked is an offensive team. But I've got solidity. I've got a nice solid square in midfield there with Varane and with Evans, Amrabat and Casemiro. And I want to play through those players. I want those players to be the reason that we're getting onto stuff. Now, my match winner, I think, will be Onana. He seems to have found a little bit of form. He seems to be playing with a little bit of confidence. He came under some severe pressure and he stood up to it, and I absolutely adore that. You're going to need him to command the box, be solid with his shot stopping. Newcastle do press extremely well. And that's why I've gone with a ball-playing sort of back six. And he will be a big part of that back seven, because he'll be a big part of that as well. His distribution needs to get back to being what it was when we signed him. And I think it's lacked a little because of some of the options that he's playing it to. So I think that's what we need. Now, this video, like all the rest of them, is brought to you by our friends at Paramount UK. And I've got another exclusive bet boost that you cannot get anywhere else. Here's my bet for this game against Newcastle. I'm going for over 3.5 match goals. Now, that's looking at it being like a 3-1, 3-2, something in that sort of ballpark, which is more high scoring than you would typically expect with Newcastle, but I'm expecting a slightly rotated Newcastle side. So that's why we're going to go for that. Over 1.5 match cards. And I know you're going to all call me out on this one, but I'm going with Bruno Fernandes to score any time. Right? And you go, Steve, you've not started him. Yeah? But it's any time scorer, not first scorer. And that bet has been boosted from 27-4 to 15-2. So if you want to take advantage of that, all you got to do is click the link in the description. Prices are subject to fluctuation and availability. You need to be over 18 to participate. And we know that football and obviously United are completely unpredictable. So it's a bit of fun to enhance your enjoyment of the game. It is certainly not a promise of winning. For help, for more information on responsible gaming, please visit www.begambleaware.org. Again, this bet is exclusive to myself and to Paramount UK, so click the link in the description below to get involved. But before you do, let me know your score predictions in the comments below. Now, how do you beat this Newcastle side? That is quite hard to beat, it must be said. Number one, you limit the turnovers. Losing the ball in our third is an absolute recipe for disaster, hence why I go back to the 11 that I've selected. We're going with the most amount of ball carriers that I can fit into one team. Be efficient as you're playing out. Get yourself over the halfway line and you've got half a chance. Newcastle can be explosive when they build up a bit of a head of steam, as we saw with the game away last year where they just absolutely ran us over. The left channel is key because their most dangerous players are on that side, and take up a very, very high starting position, and that's Trippier, basically. He's not as good defensively. He's certainly not bad. He's not Trent, but he's not as good defensively. And if you can have a very, very direct threat, as in Garnacho, running at him, he will be forced to do more one way than the other. If you can isolate Shah, if you can get Garnacho 1v1 against Shah, I think you're going to have a good old time against it anyway. If United can get United can get more change, and you'll certainly get more success down that side than you will on the other side. I think it's more likely going to be like Lascelles and Byrne on the other side, and that's a little bit more secure, I would say, than the way they do it. It's asymmetric the way they attack. I think you've got to be physical. They have a significant advantage at set plays. They have a very strong, big physical side. You've got to try and match them aerially. Now, I think sometimes people go to with that would be to try and get Harry Maguire in there because he's got an excellent aerial win percentage. But I think Varane is as capable. I think Casemiro's quite capable at that as well. And I'd rather us be more effective and more efficient playing out. But you've also got to be onto those second balls, and that's why the likes of Amrabat and Johnny Evans are in the mix-up with that one. And then something that we have not done all season, you got to take your chances. Newcastle are stingy defensively, so you've got to be clinical. Like we said ahead of the derby, City will give you a chance, and they give us 2 or 3, and we didn't put one of them away. Newcastle will give you more, but you've still got to be clinical with them because they don't give you loads. No, you can't give this Newcastle team any confidence, any momentum whatsoever. I think you've got to be energetic and athletic in midfield, and that's why I bring Mount in. Hopefully Casemiro's a little bit rested and he's actually fit, and I think Amrabat in there as well. I don't think this is the game for McTominay or for Eriksen. Eriksen will get run over, and McTominay hasn't got the ability to be able to play through the lines. So I think the team's really easy to select for this week. Let's hope it's good enough to go do the business. Let me know your thoughts on my 11 in the comments below, and I'll see you lot in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.